Pierogi Joe here, and I decided it's time to live up to my namesake. It's time to make pierogi. Yes, this is a part of a 4 video series of how to make pierogi, and after selling 2,000 of them daily for about 5 years, I decided it's time I show you how to make these wonderful, traditional, basic, loving little pillows of love called pierogi. Of course, there's the beverage of choice. You gotta have a little something like that. But this is very simple. Now, I lived in Poland. I worked with some Polish ladies, and I worked here with the Polish ladies. And there's a lot of different dough recipes. Some have sour cream. Some have parts of egg, not parts of egg. I'm sticking with the basic recipe that I worked with and used and saw and ate the most in Poland. And it's just 4 basic ingredients. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 basic ingredients. And they are 2 cups of flour. Now, if you can get to your Polish store, you want to get tortowa. Mąka tortowa, which is cake flour. So try to use cake flour if you can. If you can't get that stuff from the Polish store, do that. You want 2 eggs. Let them get up to room temperature before you start mixing. 1/2 cup of water, again, up to room temperature, and a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. I'm going to show you how to do this. We're going to make pierogi. Then you don't have to ask me ever again for it. But I have no problem showing you. I have no problem eating them. Here we go. Pierogi! Before we start making the dough, get your pot of water on the boil, okay? You want to have it ready to go. And I have a little secret for you. At the end of making the pierogi, when they come out of the water, I'm going to show you a little trick that makes something absolutely infallible. And I'm not going to tell you now. You're going to have to wait. So remember, we got our cake flour, eggs, salt, water, and we're going to start mixing. But in the meantime, get your water boiling. It's pierogi time. All right, here we go. Start with your bowl. Make a little volcano hole. And I have my, I have Trusty the wooden spoon here, but this time we're using the other end of it. So we have Trusty the wooden spoon. We're going to crack our eggs in the middle. Okay, 1. Oh, yeah, cool. 2 eggs. Okay. We're going to break that egg up. We're going to start getting that egg thickened up with the flour. Okay. Just get a basic thing started there. Then we're going to add our 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. Oops, sorry. 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. There we go. Whoa, a little bit too much here. Okay. Thankfully, it didn't hit the mix there. All right. So we have 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay. And our water, which is room temperature. And with that, we're going to stir it together. And eventually, in a minute, you'll see, I'm going to knead it with my hands. Right, you see that? It's getting thicker. Thickening up flour and egg and water. So at this point, I'm going to start kneading it. Okay. Got all the good stuff out. All right. And now I'm going to knead it. Now, this is a little bit wet, so I'm going to add a little bit more flour. All right, it's a little bit more wet than I thought it was going to be. So let's get a little bit more flour in there. You want to make it like a dough, almost like a pie crust type of consistency. To be able to roll it out, okay, because that's really important. All right. So I'm going to work that and come back to you, let you know what I did. Be right back. All right, so I did put the same amount of flour you saw the first time, extra. I did that again, okay? What I'm doing is, now I'm kneading it. See, I'm kind of kneading it. It's ready when it starts losing its tacky and stickiness, but it's still silky smooth. Okay, that's about where we are right now with that. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to set it, let it set for about, let me see, how long are we going to let that set? I'll get a reference here. We will set it for about 10 minutes. Okay, we're gonna cover it with a piece of plastic and let it sit for 10 minutes, and that's when the glutens are gonna come active and that elasticity is going to come to play. Okay, so we have that dough, which we're gonna roll out into pierogi dough. See, there you go. And there's our dough sitting under plastic, all kneaded up, silky smooth. And in the meantime, here's our ingredient list. While I'm waiting for that dough to rest and that gluten to get activated and make an elastic a dough, I got my tools prepared. I have my wooden cutting board, which is pretty big. I have my rolling pin with spacers on them of 1/8 inch. However you want to do it, but I really like being as accurate as possible and consistent, so I have the 1/8 inch spacers. I have a biscuit cutter that's 3.5 inches thick. It doesn't have to be that exactly, but around 3 inches or more would be good. So they got that, and I have my scoop, which holds a tablespoon, and so I'll use a hearty tablespoon for that. And so I have my tools. I'm still waiting a few more minutes for my dough, and we're gonna start making pierogi. Hey, let's get this clear right now. Pierogi is already plural. Pierog is one. One pierog. Pierogi, 2, 3, 4, 9,000 pierogi. So I hate when people say pierogis. It's like saying mens's or women's. Pierogi is already plural. Pierogi is plural. Pierogi is plural. 10 minutes has elapsed, and I cut that dough in half, and now we're going to start rolling it out in order to cut it. Okay? I really like the spacers on this thing. It really allows to get a good, even, consistent thickness. See? Nice, sticking a little bit. If it does, no problem. Just add a little flour to the dough or to the rolling pin. All right, I'm going to cut out my little pierogi circles. A little biscuit cutter. You want to cut as close to each other as possible because you're going to reuse the dough that you don't use in the initial run, and so you want to have as less waste as possible because each time you re-roll it, it's going to get tougher and tougher. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to remove that excess. We're going to put it in our bowl. It's going to be used again later. I'm going to take I'm using the potato cheese one you saw in the other videos. I made 3 different kinds of fillings, and I took a scoop with my scooper, 1 tablespoon, and I put it just off center. I'm going to show you what to do next. And this is the big trick. Okay? Here's a little bit of the trickola here. First of all, you want to wet the rim. Okay? You want to wet the rim because basically, remember, water and flour is like a paste, okay? So we're going to help paste it together. So we're going to pull it over. All right, you got to work it a little bit. The dough is pliable. Dough is flexible here. We're going to initially close it, okay? We're initially closing it. We're initially closing it, okay? Now here's the trick. See, it's not just going to, that's not enough. That's not enough. This is a technique. It's really funny. When I learned with the Polish ladies in Poland, I wasn't allowed to do the pinching until I earned my keep. And even if you go into like when I'm like at my Polish club, the ladies are the same. You're not worthy until you earn your keep. So I've earned my keep. It just takes practice. You don't want this to break open. So here's the trick: pinch, twist, pinch, twist, pinch, twist, pinch, twist, pinch, twist. Pinch, twist, pinch, twist, pinch, twist, all the way around, and you see is a wonderfully sealed pierogi. Pierog. This is one, right? See? And we're going to keep making those nice and thick. We're going to keep making them just like that until we're done. Now, here's a couple more pointers, too. You got that big ball, and it may be hard to just pull that dough over. Just take it, press it down a little bit.
Press down a little bit with your finger. Okay, then it'll make it easier to meet the two pieces of dough. Pinch and twist, pinch and twist, pinch and twist, pinch and twist. I'm going to seal it up. See, that piece had there a little more flour, so it's not going to stick, so I put a little water on there. That makes like a glue. Okay. See, they're nice and sealed. See, no chance of getting, look at those pierogi, they're starting to develop. Check it out. And we just keep repeating that. That's our second of the big dough balls. The big dough ball, which, again, we're going to start making the second generation of the dough ball in a second. Okay. Got to flour things up. Maybe you can flip it around, because that's well floured. Roll it out. 1/8 inch. 1/8 inch. And the reason why pierogi are kind of hard to find, or people, they are kind of easy to make, easy ingredients that everybody has, but they're labor intensive, as you see. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. That's why pierogi are so precious, so valued. We're going to do our same. We're going to make sure we're nice and thin, all the same consistency, and we're going to cut out the next set. And this will have made a dozen. See, I made a mistake. I probably could have spaced it out better and not wasted such a space there and there. See, I gave you an example of how not to do that, but that's what I'm talking about. You want to be careful of that. So we're just going to keep stuffing these and keep going. I'll keep you updated. And I just grabbed, this is the scrap dough ball. Okay, so far I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, because I did the little mix match of cutting a little bit. So that is our rehashed dough. Okay, we're going to roll that out. So this is that recipe I gave you. And it's going to get, what, 1.5 dozen out of each of those recipes? Out of each batch. Okay. And you see, it's not as, it's not holding the shape as much as the first ones. It does get a little tougher. So you want to really not handle it as much, and the more flour you put in, the tougher it's getting, but we will manage. And I said, one batch of these pierogi dough, one batch of the pierogi dough is equal to the one amount of recipe that I have on the other videos for the filling. If you look on the videos, I have 3 different kinds of filling. The potato cheese ones we're making here, the sweet cheese pierogi, and the kraut and mushroom. So, something to think about. Okay, we have it again, and we're going to do our close cutting. All right. Let's see, we get a tight one there. Can fix it up a little bit there. See, I'll get a hole in there. We get 4 out of this dough roll. Show you a little something I like to do. Remember I told you about the wetting the edges and it makes a glue. I like to do it in advance. Okay, and kind of work from there. See, I wet those insides there. And you see the last couple ones, I had like the scraps of the scraps of the scraps, and so I kind of had to improv my own little couple circles on those. Okay, so some little tricks there to think about. Again, here's the pinching technique. I'm going to try and show you a little more in front of the camera. Okay, we're going to push down the filling. Then we're going to generally close it up with a light pinch. Okay, it's generally all closed up, but now we want to seal it up for good and get a good pinch. Pinch, squeeze, pinch, pinch, twist, pinch, twist, pinch, twist, pinch, twist. Okay. See, that is a sealed pierogi.
And as I said, one recipe for one batch of pierogi dough makes 18 pierogi. Now, onto the water. All right, our water's boiling. I'm going to put in 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1 dozen. I feel like the Count from Sesame Street. We're gonna let those cook for about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, going back to my utensils here. I have one of these strainer baskets, which are really cool. I love these things. And remember I told you I have a little trick. Well, first of all, here's a little trick to you. You want to gently, just make sure they're not sticking, make them roll in a circle. They're doing fine. You want to continue that rolling boil, try to heat up so that it recovers. And I told you there's a little trick I want to introduce you to, and I'll show you that as soon as I pull them out of the water. So stand by. So it's been about 2 or 3 minutes, and when they're done, they'll float. So some of them are just starting to float, so we're gonna wait till they all kind of float and float really independently and freely, and then we'll know they're done. And now, about 5 to 7 minutes is elapsed, no more than 7, I mean closer to 5, and they're all floating. Let me show you. Look, they're all floating. So here's what we do. Scoop them out, shake them up, put them in the bowl. You're like, a bowl? Yes, a bowl. Let me show you why. What you want to do to prevent these, after you're done cooking them and such, is you don't want them to stick. You're going to put them in a bag or something. You don't want them to stick. So here's the trick I learned from some older ladies. We have melted butter. Couple scoops of melted butter in the bowl, and we simply toss them in butter. Simply toss them in butter. They're completely coated onto the tray, ready to cool, ready to package, ready to eat. How about that? So there you have it. Pierogi. Remember, 1 pirog, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5,000 pierogi. Let's take a look. Oh, wow, look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. Okay, we'll take a taste. Oh my God. Decadent. Nice thick dough. The potato, the onion, that white cheese all came together. Now, you could put these on some butter. It already has some butter on it, remember. Put them in a pan, saute them, put some bacon bits, sour cream over it, however you like. Speaking of like, if you like what you see, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hope to see you around. I'll be waiting for your comments. And without further ado, I must say, smacznego!